Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're going to be talking about my top 5 tips and tricks for Farthest Frontier. Now these are going to be in ranked order from what I think is most important to least important, but obviously there's only 5 of them, so I think they're all very important. Let me know if you guys want another video on this with more tips and tricks. These are only going to be my top 5 that I think people overlook and mistake in this game. So let me know if you want to see a more in-depth video. Until then, let's get started. So number 1 is don't rush the game. Especially early game, you don't want to rush. There is no point building your population up and rushing your whole city, because it will only make the game very bad long term. The longer you then go with the game, or the same city if you like, the worse it's going to be for you. Slow down and really focus on individual stuff, where you want to place certain things, the layout of your city. Prioritize all the important stuff rather than just getting a really big population, loads and loads of houses, loads of productions, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes doing that. So first and foremost, that is my number 1 trick, and I think that's something that I messed up on probably for the first couple of months playing this game, is rushing. I just rushed into absolutely everything and none of it went my way. All of it went badly. You end up having a really big population, which means all the raids are really big and then they just wipe your city out. All sorts of stuff like that. You get food shortages and everything. So don't rush. Just take your time. Number 2. This is my second most important thing, and it comes off the back of number 1. It's very similar basically. It's to do with rushing again, but it's also, this one is rushing your population without upgrading your food. So do not place loads and loads of houses down and start ranking your population up unless you've got that adequate and correct amount of food to supply all of those new people coming in. Because knowing my luck, I'll place loads and loads of houses down, and then I'll get a massive, a wave of people that want to come and join my city. So I'll gain like 50 people from the houses, and I'll gain like another 20 from immigration wave. So I'll have 0 food, everyone will starve and everyone will die. All because I was rushing without upgrading the food. You can always see how your food is doing by if the production line, the produced amount, is higher than the consumed amount. As long as that is good and a good amount higher, then you'll be absolutely fine. As you can see, as soon as mine went close, I upgraded it. As soon as it went close again, I upgraded it. Again, as soon as I went close to consuming more than I'm producing, I upgraded it again. I mean, I'm producing absolutely tons more right now, but that's just because I haven't upgraded any more housing and I've just worked on food. So now would be a safe place for me to start placing more houses down and accepting immigration waves, because I'm producing a hell of a lot more food than I need. It just makes sense. That was one of the biggest things that I messed up on early game. I was upgrading my population and my city, and I wasn't thinking about the food. So then you'll have little red icons like this. Oh my god, I'm getting attacked. I didn't even know I was getting raided. Oh my god, I was too worried about this video. They're probably going to wipe my city out. This is just a random city. But back onto the tips. I was just upgrading all the houses and getting my population up without upgrading the food. So it didn't go very well. Now, a little side note, let's watch this raid. I'll boot it down ×2. Before we move on to tip number 3. So let's see if the city gets wiped out. Look how much stuff they've just nicked. Hopefully they don't wipe out my whole city. I mean, they've got a battering ram, so they probably will. Yeah. Hold on, pause the game. Another quick tip. This isn't a part of the game, my top tip list, but just for now, before because they haven't patched it yet, the rubble of dirt, they sometimes don't get hit. There's a bit of a clipping issue, so make sure you pause the game, rebuild it, so now there's no rubble of dirt, and then they can start getting hit and taking damage again. So that's just a side note. An additional special tip. So like here, they've just broken the wall, so I'll quickly pause it, manage walls, select it, rebuild. So now they can be hit again. But hopefully they shouldn't destroy absolutely everything. It looks like they're destroying quite a lot, but hopefully not everything. I'm only on year 39, so the raid shouldn't be that bad. Yeah, to be fair, they won't steal most of my loot. I think they took quite a lot of pottery and stuff from the market. Yeah, they took all the glassware and stuff. I think they took a lot of glassware and stuff like that. So that's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. Anyway, back onto the next top tip. The next top tip is to keep everything as close together as you can. You don't want loads and loads of things really spread apart. So for me, this comes down into a few things. Well, let's see what was taken. Yeah, 21 glassware, that's okay. Right, so this comes down into a few categories for me. You want the town trading centre, you want that close enough to the items you're going to be selling. Or the storage for those items close to the stuff you're going to be selling. So that means if I'm making, for example, if I'm making loads and loads of clothes, linen clothes, I want either the actual production building itself close to the trading centre, or the storage for the linen clothes. That's not it, but just for example, I want the storage close to it, or the actual production building itself. That's number one. Number two is you want production buildings, such as, for example, the Forester camp, that's making wood, or chopping down trees, sorry, to bring logs. You want the storage for logs to be very close to both. Now this is only storing logs, so you want that also very close. The closer you have things, the more your workers are going to be working. So if you click on a building and you're unsure how well people are working, you can click on the building and then you can come down to here, the breakdown. So you've got basic needs, working, transferring goods, combat, and idle. If this idle, this one on the right hand side, if this one is high, that means they're not working very much. If the one on the left is really high, that means they're transferring goods all the time. So if they're transferring goods all the time, you need to upgrade or add more people to your marketplace, because all that means is the people over here in yellow are having to stop doing their job to come back and stock their own house. So if the one on the left is really high, whack some more people down. This one is high working, that's good. You want that as high as possible. You want them to be working as much as possible. As you can see, mine is very high. So that means the efficiency is very good. They're producing a lot. Or they're planting a lot in this case. They're planting and cutting a lot. So they're working constantly. They're cutting down trees. They're placing the logs from here to here. Then they're going back here to eat, or they're going back here to rest if they're idling. Then they're going back out again. So everything is very close. Yet again, I've got planks, wooden planks being made. That requires wood. The wood storage is right there. So all they need to do is run from there to grab the wood, and then come back to make the planks. Everything that is closer together is much better for your city. If it's really spread out, it's really hard to get this game. For example, as well, if you've got a massive population, let's say you've got over 1,500 people in your population, the game then is going to be quite spread out. So your production rate is going to be very low, or a lot lower than it is early game. My production rate is very good because it's pretty much just this. So it's all quite close together and compact, which makes it a lot more efficient. That leads me on to the next one, the next top tip, number 4. And this one is min-max your storages. So you don't want, well, for example, I'll use the wood again for an example, so you guys can see. You don't want all of your wood, or all the people cutting the wood, walking from here all the way down to a storage over here, for example, if I had a storage, and then running back up, because they're running past 3 storages to put it in. Yeah, I'll accept them. You're running past 3 storages to put it into a storage all the way down here. You don't want that to happen. Min-maxing is this. Let me show you. Click onto your stockyard or your storage facility. It can be food, it can be anything. Anywhere where you store stuff. Click on a certain icon. So for me, I'll click on logs. You click on, well, you'll click on this button here. Let me accept wood. Click on that. Then click on this. Minimum quota, maximum quota. So I can set, let me turn that back off. I can set a minimum quota of however many I want. So that'll be the minimum amount they'll store there first. So they won't store in any other storages if you've got a minimum quota here. For me, I want all of the wood stored here. So out of 3,000 space, I want at least 2,000 of wood being stored here. So they're going to keep going back and forwards here until that gets 2,000. Now they're most likely never going to reach 2,000. So that's exactly what I want. I want them to be constantly storing wood here. You can do a maximum of work as well. For example, I like to do a maximum with my heavy tool production. Is it over here? Yeah. No, not that one. Yeah, this one. So you can, again, on production buildings like the blacksmith here, see how they're not working? See how it's on pause here? That is because my minimum and maximum is complete. I want a minimum of 30 tools and a maximum of 30 tools. So as soon as they hit 30, they stop working and they become labourers. I have 20 minimum, 20 maximum. I have 5 minimum, 5 maximum. As soon as one gets used, they all come running back here, then produce one, then go back as labourers again. So it's always completely stocked to how I want. You can click on it. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. You can click on it and you can change it. You can go up and down. You can manually input a number. It's entirely up to you. But make sure you're always using the MinMax. That is a very, very useful tip. It will help your productivity and help your impact on how quickly everything is working in your game, which is exactly what you want. Basically, you don't want everyone spending all their time doing stuff that they can't do. I've also just worked out I've got nowhere near enough housing for the people I've got, so that's good. I was too busy worried about the my top tips. Now, my top tip number 5, my last top tip. This is going to be quite important from a defense point of view, and this is height and terrain is your best friend for defense. I know a lot of you may know this already, but some of you, or those of you that don't know, I'm going to let you know in a little secret. Well, it's not a secret, but it's a very good bit of information if you don't know this. When you click onto placing a new lookout tower or barracks, you're going to get a load of numbers around the outside of your circle in the radius. All the way from 0 in the top left there, as you can see, up to 2 or 3. Now, that is the damage additional per arrow shot. So I'm getting an additional 3% damage on those shots, or additional 2% or an additional 1%. Now, if a tower, as you can see on the top left, if a tower is shooting up, they're getting +0, because it's harder for them to shoot targets that are on a higher advantage point. If, however, you're on a higher advantage point and you're shooting down, you're getting +15, +16, depending on the height. You can get +18. As you can see on this side, if I'm shooting down there, I'm getting +18, and +18 is the maximum. So if you can acquire +18, then that is going to help you out massively. Every shot or arrow that comes out of that tower is going to be an additional +18% damage. So especially when you get on the later raids and you get a Lord raid and stuff like that, and you're going to need an additional amount of protection, upgrade your watchtowers because they do a lot more damage, but then also get an additional 18% from the terrain. Use your environment, and if you haven't got a terrain like that, flatten the terrain. Use the terraforming and make something. I've got many videos on terraforming and different builds that you can use for terraforming, different seeds that you can use for terraforming, all for the purpose of having a +18 damage. Because realistically, if your city is looking really good and is perfect, but you've got no defense, the city, when they do a Lord raid or just a normal raid, they're going to come through, take everything, and completely wipe your city out. And that is not what you want. So that is my final top tip. Try and use the environment around you for a +18 damage. Now, without anything else said, guys, that is my top 5 items or top 5 tips for Farthest Frontier. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you want more top tips, maybe a top 10 or 15 tips, then please let me know and I will work on that. But until then, guys, that's been the top 5 Farthest Frontier tips from me. I'll catch you all in the next video. Thank you all for watching.